Drawing Time. This drawing illustrates a 100-year future for the Sligo Sudbury School, advocating for timely and time-full architecture and a return to a culture of caretaking and repair. Initial construction takes only 6 months. Locally quarried boulders act as foundations in the Japanese ishibatate tradition. Tree trunk pilotis are craned atop these stones as the primary structure of an extension to the old schoolhouse. Some, kept at full height, form a covered fresh air amphitheatre. These trunks are salvaged from overgrown Leylandi trees, already destined for felling. The remainder is brought to a local sawmill and returns to form the double column structure at first level. Simultaneous to foundation laying, whips are planted in the rear field for a continuous cover forest of native Irish trees. Once established, a 7-year cycle of selective harvesting maintains the woodland's health and provides lumber for repairs. Stuart Brand tells a story from Oxford of a grove of oaks planted to replace the beams in the dining hall when they became beetly. This plan had been passed down from one forester to the next for 500 years. That's the way to run a culture. Meanwhile, the excavation of a natural pond has prepared the waterlogged field for construction 2 years later of a changing pavilion and long-awaited hall. This lamella structure, made of standard manageable timbers, is erected from the ground without scaffolding. Incremental construction sets in motion a staggered cycle of maintenance and repair. No school wants to replace all their roofs at the same time. In year 15, the first building is extended as the population grows. Focus then moves entirely to caretaking. Where construction figures were indicated in blue, maintenance is shown in orange and replacement in red. The plan instead shows the community's enjoyment of the site, indoor and out. They are also drawn in orange. Revellers and caretakers are one and the same. At this democratic school, children aged 5 to 18 direct their own unfettered learning. But there is some order amid the chaos. Every afternoon, a bell is rung for clean-up time. Children and staff unite in brandishing sweeping brushes and rakes for an energetic period of camaraderie maintenance, the foundation of a culture of care. I consider them time-rich. They may not have bottomless finances, but they are an inventive, generously spirited community. This is why the proposal is entirely timber, ensuring renewability, ease of workmanship, and rapid assembly, in confidence it will receive the utmost care. It would be negligent to illustrate this project withstanding the elements unaided, considering its material. Brand bluntly asserts, "Who builds in wood builds a shack, adaptable now, gone soon," but he also points to its forgiving nature. It looks bad before it acts bad, and is easy to replace in a piecemeal manner. Thus, despite the cleaning, oiling, and surveillance measures undertaken, you will see instances of replacement. First, a few shakes here and there, then some cladding, the exposed decking crossing the river, followed by an entirely new shake roof, and eventually the replacement of the hall's corrugated sheeting, the only instance of non-organic material. Brand says, against the flow of this constant entropy, maintenance people must swim always upstream. The romance of maintenance is that it has none. Its joys are quiet ones. There is a certain high calling in the steady tending to a ship, to a garden, to a building. One is participating physically in a deep, long life. In this drawing, acts of care are not considered the short straw, but an inherent part of life and learning mixed with frivolity. Think of the spirit of renewal inspiring the continuing ancient Shinto tradition to rebuild the shrine at Ise every 2 decades. Why could this jubilant celebration of craftsmanship not be applied to a pragmatic preventative maintenance cycle? In drawing the foreseeable time of a build proposal as a landscape, one cannot ignore the weathering it will undergo, despite attentive care. If every building were drawn so, it would be difficult to justify an unmaintainable design. You might ask, what of natural catastrophic events? They are not imagined here. They are simply unpredictable. There could be a storm in 3 years' time, or a wind strong enough to damage structure might only happen in its 85th year. What is known is a community who tends to their structures stands the best chance of escaping damage or mitigating it. This project sees beauty in buildings which stand only so long as life sustains them, revelling in the patchwork repair of the well-loved. What is fully apparent in our 100th year is the abundance of biodiversity the site now offers. The school is not only made of revellers or caretakers, but custodians of a better future.